everybody, this is a board game vlog update of Prêt-À-Porter. And so we got closer to it being right.
So this is the third time we've played this game. The first time we were just learning, but we were in a cafe and we didn't get to play very slowly. Especially near the end of the game, we had to really sort of speed play to be able to finish in time. And we finished the scoring and we put everything back in the box and then we had to leave. So we didn't really get a ton of time to really, digest how we felt about the experience or anything like that. The second time we played was earlier last week, I think, and we vlogged that one. And we made a lot of mistakes that time around with the rules and how the game was supposed to work and that kind of stuff. We made a lot of mistakes. And because of some of the mistakes we made, I had a really frustrating experience. I felt like I was constantly underwater and could not get where I needed to get in the game. This time around, we were very slow, very cautious. We tried to make sure we were doing everything correctly. I think we still made one or two small mistakes here or there. And one that probably really inflated both of our scores. However, I think we got a lot closer to...
I think we only got one thing that we didn't understand, and that, maybe upped the score a lot, but at the same time, it really wouldn't have changed, I think, who actually won.
I think because it inflated both of our scores pretty much equally, I think all that happened was now we ended up with much larger scores, but they were still equal distance apart, if that makes any sense. So this time, I completely smashed face. But again, the player who completely smashed face had an investment house early in the game.
So you had the investment house before I did.
Yep.
And that was So you had a turn before me. So you had, I think, 2 times. Well, the second time around.
I had it a couple times.
You had a couple or at least one.
At least twice, and I think it was more like 3 times.
Yeah.
That I was able to generate 25 points.
Yeah.
Every single time. So I was either 50 or 75 or more points ahead of you just because of this card.
Yeah, and I mean, that card alone, it was just kind of... I had it the first game, and then it didn't come out until way later, but then the last game, it came out one came out right after the other, and...
And this game, it came out in our initial layout of cards, and I said I refuse to have that happen
at the
immediately.
beginning. Yeah.
We're not going to start with that. So we shuffled it back into the deck, and it didn't come out until later in the game.
Yeah.
But I was still able to pick it up, and then, like I said, I got at least 50, and I think it was closer to 75.
I think it was
more.
50.
Well, somewhere between 50 or more points because of this card right here. And while Nick was able to get one of these cards as well, and he was able to generate a lot of points off of it, I still just feel like this is crazy overpowered. If one player gets this, then they're going to have way more points than anybody else.
And I think this is a 2-player game, so even in a 3 or 4-player game, there's going to be somebody that does not get the opportunity to get this. So that would be really...
Yeah, we both ended up with one of these. So I think that was even able to... And even though one of us ended up with it later in the game than the other, I think that still kept the scores relatively close.
Yeah.
But if it was a 3 or 4-player game and there were people who weren't able to have one of these, I feel like they would just get totally left in the dust. And that's not fun for anybody. If you are, even if you're the person winning, you're just beating the crap out of the person behind you. That's not, nobody is enjoying that.
Yeah,
I'm just not sure about this. I think because we still played one thing incorrectly, I'm not 100% willing to just be this is broken. But I'm very close to that point. The next time we play this game, I feel like we will know exactly what we're doing and we won't make any mistakes. And because there's exactly the number of cards you need in the game, these do have to come out. Now, whether people buy them or not is up to the players, but if this comes out in the next game and one or more players is able to pull off this strategy again, and we know that we're doing everything correctly next time, then we'll know for sure if this is genuinely like a broken strategy or not. But right now, based on the information we have, it feels...
Yeah, it feels pretty much right there. I mean, the game was it was better experience.
Yeah,
a lot more
I
fun.
had way more fun this time.
Yeah, still, just pretty beautiful game. Nice screen printed pieces. Everything is just, fabulous. Portal Games did a good job on presentation, and, everything with that is just, there are just a couple hiccups. That card, sometimes it's a heavier game, so that comes with more of a, more heavy comprehension or a more tougher time with comprehension of the rules in the game because it is, the hobby game. It is not.
There's also a lot more going on here than games.
There's a lot of things you have to.
So you have to remember. Okay, this happens. This happens. This happens. And we're actually talking about the player aids. There are 2 player aids in the game, and they're double-sided. So there's actually 4 of these cards, but these are the only player aids in the game at all. I have never once needed anything on this side of the card ever. We only use this when we score these up, and I feel like 1 card would have been just fine. We don't need it on every 4 cards. However, there are a lot of things that I would have liked to have a player aid.
The upgrade or grow phase was, we're always wondering, wait, that happens before the upkeep. And so we always have to do that before.
I feel like even though we have this track here, which is supposed to help you keep track of everything that's happening, I wish the player aid covered what you did in each of these phases.
Yeah.
That would be a way more useful player aid than this, and then having 3 extra of these.
Yeah.
So I feel like the player aid is not that helpful. But other than that, I feel like the game is really well produced, and we do have the Kickstarter version, so we have some upgraded stuff. But I think they just said, here's the retail version, plus here are some upgrades for your Kickstarter. I think even if we didn't have the Kickstarter upgrades, it would still be a very highly produced game. Nick really is attracted to the artwork a lot. I think it's fine. I think it suits the theme really, really well. And overall, this time around, I enjoyed my experience way more than way more than last time. I didn't have to take out a single loan or get any credit at all this time, and that made a huge difference for me because last time I was really, really struggling with that. I just could not get myself out of debt because we were playing wrong. But it caused a lot of frustration for me, and this time that was not even a thing that was happening. So that was really nice for me. And I do feel like there might be, once you learn this game completely, I do feel like there might be a few paths to victory that you just constantly just choose that one particular path to victory over and over and over again. Because
those are the most efficient paths to go with.
And also, for me, in all of the games, I have acquired a ton of buildings. And that means that I generate a lot of upkeep costs, but it also gives me a lot of room to maneuver. For example, I got these 2 cards fairly early on in the game, and then I upgraded them right away. And it was because I looked out at the track of all of the shows that were coming up for the whole year, and I determined that having quality and trend tokens were going to get me a lot of points.
Well, I mean, that's just observation right there.
Yeah, but I feel like that is a strategy that you could employ pretty much.
Yeah, that's true. It's true.
So I do feel like it might end up being where it gets a little stale after you know what you're doing and you've played.
Well, we've also been playing just with 2 players, and I know if multiple people did that during a 3 or 4 player game, you would, you'd be able to kind of figure it out or have a tougher time because people would be taking the other games or the other things that you would want to maximize during the exhibition phases and all the phases that come. So, yeah, that's a strategy, and we've only been playing with 2 players, so there could be some things there's always a different experience with some games where it's 2 players, it's one experience. 3, it's a different. 4, it's like, holy crap, you're almost playing a totally different game or have a totally different strategy. Like for Splendor, for example, I totally have a different strategy every time I play with 2 players, 3 players, or 4 players.
But do you have the same strategy every time you play with 2 players and the same strategy every time you play with 4 players?
It depends on what cards come out.
See, I feel like in this game, I might have the same strategy at the same player account again and again and again. And that might not always afford me the win, but I feel like I'm still going to fall into one strategy again and again and again. Maybe not, but
Maybe not.
We'll see.
Yep. All right. Well, until next time, we will talk to you guys later. This is our updated Prêt-À-Porter vlog. We will probably have a third one for this game because we're like, we will get it right.
I do really like it, and I was almost. It takes quite a while to play this game. The box time is 90 to 120 minutes, and I would say that that's probably accurate. So it does take a long time.
It does take some time to.
It does take time, but we played, and I was like, I want to do it again, like right now.
Yeah.
I don't actually feel
it's a good game. It's just a lot in the game. It's a heavy game.
If it took less time, I would probably be like, let's do it again right now. So we're probably not going to do it again right now, but I feel like I want to do it again right now.
Yeah.
Especially because I feel like every time we get more and more of the game
kind of figure it out, or we understand more of what's been told to us or explained to us in the rules, then we're like, well, let's do it again.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the con of larger games, is because there's so much time, and as you can see all this, so much time putting together. But we are fortunate enough to have a game room, a game table.
Even that, though, I feel like we need to be careful, because we did leave this out the last time we played. We're like, we're just going to set it back up and leave it out so that next time we have time to play, it'll all be ready to go. But then a couple of times we had to play a lighter, shorter game somewhere else in the house because we had left this up on the table. So it is nice to have a game room where you can like leave a game set up.
It's a lot to put up and tear down every time you want to play the game.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
Well, and in addition to the setup and takedown, it also just takes a long time to play as well.
Yeah, and so that you have to factor in, it's one of those games where when you're setting up, it's like 15, 20 minutes to set up and make sure you got everything right and everything how you want it.
That might be a little on the long side.
It might
especially
because
they provide these nice trays, so you can pretty much just pick the tray up out of the box and set it on the table, and that's the setup for all of the tokens that you see here.
Which is very considerate when it's a big game, because when you have a big game and here's a bunch of baggies and every time you gotta go put it back. I think we saw a Feast for Odin from the Brothers Murph. It was like one of their videos. It
was a cute video.
They brought a little crane and everything. They were fixing everything. It was
pretty cute.
And Nick was creating like a 3D printout of an insert, and it was like, and there are companies that have that. It's an insert for some of these massive games, so you can, cut down on that downtime of setup and tear down. So
would you like to join in the conversation?
Hold on, I'll get him. So yeah,
It's our big baby.
It's a big baby. It's a big baby. It's okay. So yeah, like it. It's good. Don't fight me. Don't fight me. But yeah, so stay tuned for our probably third update on this one, just because we want to make sure to get it right and also get like the most accurate take for it. So we'll talk to you guys later. Bye.